Hello. Read it here. Today we're going to read a story from her slash Am I the Asshole? Now, for our first story, Am I the Asshole for dropping our dinner on the ground and walking out when my boyfriend asked me, "What's for dinner tonight, bitch?" I was over my boyfriend's apartment this weekend, and I was cooking dinner because he was studying for exams. I made pasta and a chunky sauce with meatballs and veggies. I told him dinner was ready, and he goes, "What's for dinner tonight? Be asterisk t-sich." With like a lot of emphasis on the last word. I was fed up. I'd had a pretty rough day with work, and I have some awfully bad associations with that word being used by other people in my life who were pretty abusive. So I was so irritated that I dropped the pot of pasta sauce I'd been carrying right on the ground and was like, "Well, nothing's for dinner tonight now. And I better not hear you using that word again. It's for the girls." He was freaking out about how sauce had landed on his rug, and he even said, "You're seriously acting like a bitch right now. I didn't know what else to call it." I just walked out and got takeout for myself and went to my friend's house. She thought it was funny, but my boyfriend was furious. He kept texting and calling and sending me voice memos trying to explain that saying, "What's for dinner tonight? Be asterisk TCH" was a TikTok trend, and that he was just quoting something as a joke to put on TikTok. I thought that was the shittiest excuse ever. It doesn't matter if he saw it as a joke or stole the joke. It was still disrespectful. But it didn't change the fact he thought that shit was funny, to demean me when I was trying to do him a favor. Like how I came over when he was studying to make a home-cooked dinner and he decides it's time for jokes? So I put my phone on Don't Disturb for the night and split a bottle of wine with my friend and her roommate. The next morning, he was sending me angry texts demanding I clean his rug because he was too busy with exams to do it. I was shocked he left it overnight. That's disgusting. I texted him back saying, "Yeah, so that's the bitch tax, honey. Smiley face. Leave me alone till you're ready to handle your own cooking and cleaning, because this bitch isn't anymore. Also, it's vile you left that's soaking in all night." He called me and told me that he was okay with doing his own household work, but I did throw a full pot of sauce at the ground, so that's on me to clean up. I told him, "You know I'm not comfortable doing chores for you if you see me like you be asterisk H." He told me he didn't, and it was just a trend, and I got pissed off he was playing that TikTok trend BS excuse again, and I told him, "Well, I'm starting a trend called saucing, where as a little joke people throw pasta sauce around. You can't be mad because it's just a little trend, a little jokey joke, just a little prank, bro." He got really pissed off and hung up on me, and now I'm seriously wondering if this dumb fucking TikTok joke is going to be the end of things between us. AITA for how I reacted when my boyfriend asked me, "What's for dinner tonight? Be asterisk TCH." Edit to address a comment. I've gotten a lot, and I don't have time to reply to every time. But did you tell him not to call you a bitch? Like, how would he know otherwise? Honestly, if someone has gotten to the age of 30 and not realized that women, as a whole, do not like having demeaning slurs used against them, they're beyond my help. This isn't something that needs to be told. I shouldn't have to go through life like, "Hey man, just in case you were thinking I might like demeaning slurs against my gender used on me. I don't actually," smiley face. Let's hear from the comment section. Comment 1. Sounds like Opie was definitely seeing red. When I first read this, I kind of thought Opie overreacted. So I tried to think about how I would feel in her situation, and I realized I honestly have no idea. My husband and I tease each other all the time, but we also have a clearly unspoken line that we don't cross, and it comes somewhere before calling each other names like this. I was completely wrong when I thought Opie overreacted. She has a right to be respected by her boyfriend, and he's clearly failing to do so. Comment 2. Not the asshole. And yes, your comeback was so on point. I would have thought about it after 6 months. Truly iconic. I'm really shocked that he didn't apologize, get you flowers and beg you to take him back. Dump his ass just like the sauce. Comment 3. OP may be my hero. I wish my younger self had the nerve to stand up for myself. Hell, I wish me now was better with it. Now, for our second story. Am I the asshole for wearing the joke bikini my friend got me? So it was my birthday a couple months ago. Had a party. Got some gifts. My friend Mandy for me a super cute bikini. I liked it. Said thanks. She had ripped the tags off, but whatever. Anyway, went to the community pool with my roommate. Wore bikini. Got in the water. Roommate immediately is like, "Girl." I look and see that this bikini is now kind of see-through. Haha, good joke, Mandy. Anyway, Mandy invited me over to her place to hang out with her and her BF and a few others. Most leave, and we're still hanging out. I'm like, hey, what if we get in your hot tub? I go change after them and meet her BF in the hot tub. She's getting new drinks. I hop in. Immediately, he's looking at my chest. I pretend I don't notice and just make small talk. She comes out a few minutes after and just looks in shock. Eventually gets in. Oh, is that the one I bought? Yeah, I love it. I wear it everywhere. Make up some stuff about how I wore it to the beach, some party with lots of guys, etc. And she's just like, oh, we're in the tub for 20 to 30. Eventually get out and change. She approached me after and was like, I'm sorry, thought you'd notice. But it goes kind of see-through. I'm like, yeah, I know. Why'd you buy me a ducking see-through bathing suit? She's like, it's a joke. Wait, you knew? So you just spent last 30 foot flashing my BF on purpose. I reply, I'm just wearing my birthday gift from her. Anyway, am I the asshole? Let's hear from the comment section. Comment 1. Honestly, not likely, since she was still wearing a bikini. There are some places she might get a ticket for public indecency if the officer really wanted to take it that far, but highly unlikely she'd actually be arrested. Comment 2. The friend apparently didn't care that other guys would see her tits until the other guy was her boyfriend. She wanted OP to be embarrassed about being nearly naked in public. This is a case of the friend needing to be careful what she wishes for. Comment 3. Not the asshole. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Plus, it's not your fault he was blatantly stating at your tits right in front of her. Because it still isn't clear to literally anyone, I'm saying Mandy has nobody to blame but herself for what happened. Comment 4. To be honest, no tags on the bikini makes me think she bought it for herself, wore it, realized it was see-through, and tried to get rid of it by passing it off as a bad gag gift. She more than earned her shitty prize. Now, for our third story. Would I be the asshole for planting prickly bushes in my front yard to keep the neighbors' kids from my property? Throwaway for obvious reasons. I moved into a detached townhouse a few months ago. It's a rental. I'm leasing it for a year with the option to extend that with a second year or possibly buy the house. My driveway is right next to the neighbors. It's big enough to fit 2 regular-sized cars, and halfway down my driveway, there's a path leading around my house. On side of the path is my house. On the other side's about 3 m of yard. That's mine. Ever since I moved in, I've been having issues with the neighbors using my driveway for parking, turning their cars, storing their other stuff, playing, etc., etc. Asking them to stop using it and keep their items on their own property has not worked, so I placed a few large plants, installed a camera, and a no trespassing sign. And that helped a bit. At least the cars are gone. The last few weeks with the stay-home advice, I've been working from home, but the neighbors' kids are making that really hard. They're about 5 and 7 boys, and they keep ringing my doorbell multiple times a day to ask if they can play with my dog, if I want to play with them, or anything else they can think of. I asked them to stop it so I can work, which of course didn't work, so I asked their parents and was told boys will be boys, and they weren't going to do anything about it, sad face. To keep my sanity intact, I removed the battery from the doorbell, but now they keep running around in my front yard, on the path around the house, banging on my windows, banging on my doors, and actually tried to open the gate to my backyard this morning as they heard me in there. I once again asked them to stop, told them I will not be allowing them to play with the dog anymore at all if they keep this up, and they left, sending over their dad. I told them to keep the boys away from my property and door. If not, I'll be planting some prickly bushes to teach them to stay away from other people's property and shut the door in his face. Would I be the asshole if I actually did that? I'd love to place a fence or something. But as it may be a short-term rental, I have to be able to return everything in its original state for now. About a week after my post, I planted a wall of blackberries and raspberries at the 2 sides of my garden facing the driveway, about 30 centimeters from the edge, so no overhanging branches. On the other side of the berry wall, I planted lot stuff like strawberries and tomatoes. To reach the tomatoes and strawberries from the driveway, you have either go through the fruit bushes or walk up to my house. Walk about 2 m along the side of the house and my windows, and then walk into my actual garden. Not something you do by mistake. For about 2 weeks, it was somewhat quiet, but I still found the kids on my driveway every single day. As far as I know, they did not enter the garden, and I hadn't noticed them walking around my house anymore, so I figured the bushes were working. About 1 week ago, berry season started, and my bushes are now full of raspberries, and there's lots of strawberries as well. The neighbors noticed. First, I caught the boys picking and eating raspberries, so I told them off and dropped them off at home. Told their mom I caught them stealing. That's how I see it, even though it's fruit, and that I'd call the cops next time. She huffed and told me to grow up, but took the boys inside anyway. After that, it was quiet up until yesterday afternoon, when I went out for a while and found the dad and his 2 sons right in the middle of my garden when I returned, clearing my bushes and plants. I didn't even confront them, just called the cops from a distance as they hadn't noticed me yet and started filming them after making the call. Luckily, 2 cops showed up after 10 minutes or so, and they confronted the neighbor as they were still picking berries. They told them they were trespassing and that the berry picking was in fact considered stealing and that I could press charges. For the first time, I noticed a bit of fear in my neighbor. He was having trouble finding his words and kept looking back at his house, I guess hoping his wife would show to yell at the cops. They all went inside with the cops, so I just went home as well. After a while, the cops came by and asked me if I wanted to press charges. I asked them if they felt like they scared the neighbor enough to stay away. I got a small smile and yes about him, but the wife had just kept shouting at them and her husband about the little bitch living next door. I told them no for now. Asked them if I'd be allowed to get an extra camera set up on the wall between my garden and the road to cover the entire front garden plus driveway. They said that's allowed as long as it's on my side of the wall. So, now I'm getting an extra camera installed. One neighbor knows I'm done messing around, but his wife isn't there yet. And if I ever catch any of them again, the cops will be called and possible charges will follow. Let's hear from the comment section. Comment 1. Not the asshole. Their parents are lazy and sound like they just want to make you a free babysitter. Boys will be boys, shaking my head. Comment 2. I hate kids will be kids. If you don't teach them that their behavior isn't correct, they're going to keep being kids when they're 20 or 30. The fact that they're kids maybe means you're understanding and instructive rather than punishing. It means they're given the opportunity to learn, but it doesn't mean they should be allowed to continue. Comment 3. Not the asshole. These parents are jerks. Be petty and install a motion sensor that sets off a sprinkler system. Comment 4. If they're banging on your windows and trespassing, call the police. No amount of prickly plants or cameras is going to change that these parents are basically shoving off their responsibilities to you so they don't have to deal with their own kids. Call the police and tell them there's unaccompanied minor children on your property and their parents are nowhere to be seen. Hell, if it persists, I'd call CPS. They're a liability to have on your property. Now, for our 4th story. Would I be the asshole for refusing to stop cooking bacon in my kitchen due to my teenage daughter's vegan lifestyle? Not the a-hole. Dad here, old fart, loves his daughter to pieces, but I'm struggling to see eye to eye with my teenager and wife on this one. We've always been a meat-eating family. We live in the rural Midwest and bacon for breakfast is pretty much a given. This year, my 14-year-old daughter decided to go vegan, and I jumped onto her support team with enthusiasm. We learned how to substitute ingredients, cook new things, try new things. I adjusted our budget to include more expensive vegan substitutes for her, etc. None of this has been a problem for me until recently. She saw me cook bacon in a pan, and then I rinsed it out to load in the dishwasher. She exploded in anger. Teen years. I'm not too fussed about the anger explosion. I know she doesn't mean it, and said that was her pan for vegan food. I was completely floored and said, "Kiddo, this here is a family pan. Older than you, it's not your pan." She asked me to purchase her a pan that she can solely use for vegan food. I didn't want her to feel weird about food, so I said sure, and ordered her a few colored ones that are only for her. The reason they're colored is so it helps me remember that I'm not to touch them unless I'm cooking vegan. That wasn't good enough. Now apparently the dishwasher is contaminated with animal product, and the fridge has bacon grease fingers on it, because I eat bacon and then touch the fridge, and she's asked me and her mom to completely stop eating meat at home. I don't mean I literally touch the fridge with greasy bacon hands, because I wash my hands, but it's clearly enough that it upsets my daughter. Frankly, I'm on team hell no. Her mom is much more amenable and strongly wants me to consider taking our daughter up on the request. My wife's reasoning is that both our parents live close, so we can eat meat products there. and that she doesn't want our daughter to feel uncomfortable in the kitchen. My daughter says she is fine with cheese and butter in the fridge, but it's specifically meat products that make her feel sick. Now I'm sorry for her, but I feel like she just needs to adapt and live side by side, because I'm not going to stop eating bacon in my own house. Let's hear from the comment section. Comment 1. Not the asshole. Get her a special sponge she can use to wash her own dishes, so she didn't have to use the tainted dishwasher. Comment 2. Agree NTA. She isn't paying bills, you are. She is being a brat. She needs an education on how dishwashers work. Tally up the costs of what she needs to be a self-sufficient vegan, and add in the cost of the pans you bought her, and make her pay for it if she insists on being unreasonable. Also, if you go to a restaurant, unless it is specifically vegan, I guarantee you they will not stop what they are doing to sterilize the kitchen to accommodate your daughter. If she has local hangout places that are food places, you need to let her know they will likely contain egg, dairy, and possibly meat products that could include fryer grease. Oh, some bread and pastry products equals butter, in case she eats that stuff. Comment 3. Did you ride the hot tub time machine to go back to the 60s? Most sugar is no longer filtered through bone char, unless maybe you're buying some cheap shit from China in a dollar store, in which case you should worry about what other kinds of contaminants are in that sugar. Same goes for Guinness. No more fish bladders. Get with the program and update your knowledge. Comment 4. This is it. Don't let her become one of those vegans that give vegans a bad name. Teach her never to impose her diet, religion, or politics on others. If she goes to collage with the attitude she can force everyone around her to bend over backwards because she's a vegan, it is going to cause problems. Nip the entitled behavior in the bud. Enjoy your bacon. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to see more.